Hi folks, we've had a lot of questions from some of our more northern fans, I guess you'd call them fans, that we call them our friends, about black-eyed peas. Now black-eyed peas are kind of a southern thing, you know. My wife, Marcine, is from Ohio, so she didn't know hardly anything about black-eyed peas. She's heard the name, but the legend escaped her.
That's right.
Anyway, you might remember on some of our previous videos that when these were little, when they were about this tall.
Mm-hmm.
But as you can see, things have changed. And I've had to prune them out of the tomatoes about half a dozen times. And you can see here the remains of the sunflowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they grow up on them and everything. They're very enthusiastic growers. Now, what we're after today is this. See?
Let me try and get in here without falling. Okay.
This is how I like to pick them.
Okay. Well, it's
See?
kind of got a yellow tinge to it, or?
Yeah, they come in pairs, and they're like the asbuki beans. They're on a
stick.
Stem, and they're kin to the asbuki beans.
Or Chinese noodle beans.
Yeah. Well, we call them asbuki beans because I don't know. I've had head injury. Anyway, so I go through here. I picked in here Wednesday, and they're in various states of maturity. You can see these. These could go a little longer, but we'll pick a few. And you just grab them and give them a tug. And you can see them out here. They bear them high on the plant, which is good because you don't have to dig for them too much. And then we put them in the bucket. So you can see these. They usually are in pairs.
Uh-huh.
And I have trampled through these. You can see where I've been. We've probably got 6 or 8 pickings out of these things. Now these are second generation seed. That means I saved last year's seed.
Okay.
Off of these. Now what I'll do, I'm going to quit picking these. Unless Marcia from church wants them, and I think she does. So I'll come down here and pick for her, and then she can show them. But anyway, well, I'm going to pick a few of these, and what I would normally do, like if Marcia and them didn't want any, I'd just leave them. I'd just forget about them. And then I'd come down here after frost and everything. These pods will be brown.
Let me see those pods up close so people can kind of get an idea.
See? And what's in here...
And pop it open so they can see how we...
Now what's in here is black-eyed peas.
It's a treasure.
It's a little treasure. It's wrapped up in a little package. Oh. See, they in there.
Oh, okay.
People say, Sam, why do they call them black-eyed peas? Well, see, there's the black eye. See, they're not quite dry. They're not hard. They're soft. They're like a lima bean that you have picked.
Okay.
Now, if I let them go, they'll turn almost white, and they'll have a very dark portion here where they're attached to the inside of the pod. And so you just open them up, and then you have peas.
And that's what Sam and I do some evenings.
This is what we do.
With a bucket of these and shell them.
This is what you're after right there. This is about exactly how we like them right here. Now you can let them go till they're all dry and the pods are all brown and brittle, and these will be hard. Then you treat them like pinto beans or something.
Navy beans?
Navy beans. We didn't have a Navy. But anyway, and then those are the kind that you would soak and cook and throw a ham bone in there or something nice. It's very southern. Make you a skillet of cornbread and get you some RC cola and you're good. Or some sweet tea and you're good. But this is how we do this. This is this portion.
We wanted to show you, you know, how they grow. And
let me see if I can spot one that's dry.
Okay. He's trying to find one to show you.
Look, now see, this one is dry. These are mature. Now, if I wanted to, I could save these for seed if they're not full of fungus or anything. Now we'll do a comparison.
They're harder to get out of when they're drier too, I noticed. When they're dry, they're harder to get out of the little shell.
Now what you do for that is, let's say you had a whole bunch of these. You make sure they're really dry. You put them in a room with a dehumidifier or something like that and let them get brittle. Then you take a pillowcase and you put all of the pods, the dry pods, in the pillowcase and you tie them up real tight. Then you put a sneaker in the dryer with the pillowcase full of your pods and put it on air. Don't heat it. And it'll bang all the pods apart. And then you simply do an ancient process called winnowing. You can take a fan, or on a breezy day like today, you just take handfuls of what you got in that bag and the pods blow away and the seeds drop down.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's ancient. That goes back to Old Testament times. But see, you can tell the difference. They're smaller. See?
I hope this is coming out on film okay.
Let me get it in the sun. These are pretty small, but usually they're not quite this big, but a little bit. But these are the dry ones. These ones, I wouldn't use these for seeds because they're inferior. They're small. But these are what you can use for seed.
Okay.
And these are, just think lima beans.
Yeah, like a greener.
Yeah, like if you have dried lima beans, they're going to be like the navy beans. They're going to be white.
Right.
Like the great northern beans or whatever it
Yeah.
is for those of you in northern latitudes. Anyway, but that's how we do it. And then we just can these like lima beans. You can them with Marcy put some bacon in there, and it's good. You put some little hunks of bacon in there, and you can. And this time she put some tomatoes in there with them, because you can make Hoppin' John with black-eyed peas. Hoppin' John is basically black-eyed peas, rice, and tomatoes. Some people, you can put ground meat in there if you brown it, sausage, beef, lamb, venison, whatever you got, or you can put some okra in there if you're very southern. Those of you northern folks might not know much about okra, so we'll one of these days we'll do a video about that. But anyway, that's how they are, and we'll sit there and we'll fidget with these things. We'll open them up. I find it's best just to break the end off, and it's got a seam in them. They're legumes.
It does.
See, it's got a seam, and then you open it up, and there's your little treasure, your little jewel in there. See how they're all lined up? And these things look like a snake that ate about half a dozen eggs. They got little bulges in them. You can feel them.
You can
see?
feel when they're really ready to go.
I'll get it in the sun so you can see better. But the original seed for this came from the grocery store, probably Food Line or Martin's or something like that around here.
That's right.
You buy the dried beans, which look like this. They're in a little bag that costs about $1.25 for a pound of them, and I put them in the planter, and down the row I go, and this comes up. But they really, this has been a big success story this year. They've been flooded twice. There's a bear running around down here that we spotted, but he hadn't done any damage yet.
No.
So, anyway, that's the story of black-eyed peas as far as we know. And but I recommend doing it. I mean, you
get a lot out of it.
Yeah, and give them plenty of space because they go. I've pruned them out of those tomatoes. You can see where they're growing up again, so I can get behind there half a dozen times. And I mean, it isn't just a stem and a stem. I mean, it's handfuls I'm throwing over the side to get out of there because they're real aggressive, and they spin. And if any of y'all know why beans always go the same direction, let me know. I don't know. Maybe they go to a different direction in the southern hemisphere, like tornadoes and hurricanes and the water in the toilet. But I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but they do. They all spin clockwise, I think. Maybe we can find one. Let's see which way they spin it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they're all spinning clockwise.
They're all spinning clockwise. I can't get over there. Without stepping on
over
stuff.
This side.
Sorry, people. A little jiggly.
See, they all spin
Oh,
clockwise. Yeah. And they all go the same way.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why. Now look here. These are what I would use for seed.
Yep.
See how white they are, and
Yeah.
the eye on them is more distinct.
Uh-huh.
This is seed right here. This
Okay.
could be next year's crop,
Okay.
or a small portion of it. But see, and they're hard. They're hard as a rock. If you bit down on this, you'd be spitting out pieces of teeth.
Oh no.
Which we don't want to do.
All right.
So you can give them something to climb on too, a fence, or chicken wire on some poles or something, and they'll go up it. That's a fact. But we got plenty of space, so we don't need to do that. Anyway, Marcy will fill in with her canning procedure, so I'm done.
He's done his part. Thanks,
Remember,
Sammy.
begin with the end in mind.
That's right.
And give praise to God, for He makes things grow.
That's right.